The TOS TV network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sport and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV news from Africa by Africans.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the Osasu Show. Today we'll be honing in to the details of Atiku Abubakar's policy document. We'll be speaking with his deputy chairman of the southern region, Otunba Gbenga Daniel. He'll be speaking to us about how Atiku Abubakar will go ahead in implementing this document if he were to become president. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back on the Osasu Show.
The governor has also embarked on a statewide healthcare program that aims to cater and improve the lives of all residents of Abia. There are also ongoing programs that take care of the elderly right at the comfort of their homes. This ensures that they don't have to struggle to get to a health facility and instead can get treatment right at the comfort of their homes.
Ehunanya ya dị obi dị m ụtọ ma nriri ya nlagharịa tie nyekwa nwa ọgwụ ndị a leweta ọla dị ya ma ihe mere na otu ọ naghị ahụ ụzọ naghị agara nwekwa ihe ọbụla nwere ike ime ya mere m na-ekelekwa n'onye isi na-ekele unu n'ọbịbịa n'ihi gịnị mgbe ndị mbụ bịara ndị abụ abịa site nwanne anyị nwoke abịa obi dị m ụtọ nke biko na-emena kelere m onye isi anyị ya jishi ike gọvanọ ya jishi n'ike n'ọlụ ya niile si ya dala mba ya jishi ike onye nwe m ga-agọzi ya ọ ga-edowe ala ọnọdụ ka ekwesịrị ntụkwasị obi
onye mmefu enyi nọkwa taa ya abịa
We saw him with a leg ulcer. We now opened the wound. We want to know what is wrong with the leg. We opened the wound. We even saw maggot coming out from the wound. So we started dressing the wound. Initially, we see slough of dead tissues covering the wound. So we started dressing the wound gradually. If you look at the wound now, it's improving. You can see red cells, as in showing granulation tissue, showing that the wound is actually improving.
We see our auntie here, the nurse. He come to our rescue by taking care of the injury. We see at the first treatment, we saw maggot coming out from the leg. Immediately, we carry him outside. Maggot started coming out from the leg, and you can't even come inside this house because of the odor of the injury. So, but now we can see change, and everything is just going well at his plan. But thank God for our governor for helping us for this issue. We thank you. We thank the governor.
Welcome back to the Osasu Show. Joining me now is Otunba Gbenga Daniel, the former governor of Ogun State and the former Director General of the Atiku Presidential Campaign Organization. Thank you so much for joining us in today's program.
Good morning, Osasu.
Good morning,
viewers.
Good morning. So the Atiku campaign organization recently released its blueprint plan. As the deputy chairman of the Southern Zone, which is in charge of 17 states, can you tell me how this privatization plan, because that's at the core of the Atiku manifesto, privatization and restructuring, can you tell me how this is going to curtail corruption and also to increase job creation amongst Nigerians?
Well, basically, if you look at what has happened all over the world, increasingly it has been discovered that for human beings to be able to optimize their potentials, they must have capacity to take control of so many things. When you also look at the contemporary experience that we've had, you'll find out that there are quite a number of essential things that government tried to do. They established fertilizer companies. It didn't work. Refineries did not work. What will have been, for instance, the bone of our industrialization, which everybody knew, is the steel industry. They established or tried to establish a Jakarta Steel Complex that has been on for probably nearly 30 years. Delta Steel Alaja did not work. Katsina Steel Rolling Mills did not work. Oshogbo Steel Rolling Mills did not work. Jos Steel Rolling Mills did not work. Even the strategic depot that the NNPC built in various locations so that petroleum products can be piped instead of going through our roads did not work. And there is one common denominator in all of this. It is being run by government, which means that government's business is nobody's business. And if we are therefore, and if you look at all those things that I've mentioned, they have capacity to turn around this economy. They have capacity to provide employment in thousands, which will now have a bigger multiplier effect on so many other people. They have not worked. Now contrast that to what has happened in the private sector, and you see some of those things that are now in the hands of the private sector are working. The telecommunications industry is a typical example. Maybe some younger people may not know that some 15, 20 years ago, for you to get a phone application averagely takes 6 months to 1 year. Now, like this, because the whole process have become privatized.
Your Excellency, how do we juxtapose that with the increase in unemployment in Nigeria? Yes, the Atiku Abubakar campaign organization has said that they would create 3 million jobs and to lift about 50 million people out of poverty. Yet we have a very robust civil service of about 5 million people. So if we go about privatizing these government institutions and businesses, how do we create more jobs? How will privatizing ensure more job creation?
While those things were not privatized, they have not provided any jobs anyway. Because how does moribund industries that are folding up daily provide jobs? So let us agree that there is no possibility there. But on the other hand, if you have a good local content policy, if you put your people at work and those industries start to work again, that creates multiplier effect and that creates jobs, for starters. The other thing we must also know is that all over the world, development, or let me put it this way, probably 80-90% of development and job creation is in the private sector. And what the policy seeks to do is to create an environment that will encourage investments in all sectors. That does not mean that the country will lose ownership. And once that happens, that multiplier effect on its own will create jobs. Part of what we have not been doing in our country, for instance, is when we do give contracts out, sometimes to expatriate companies, there is no local content policy. Part of what is being conceptualized, for instance, is that when you give a job to a particular extent in certain values, there must be minimum number of Nigerians that must be specified, can work and must work in that kind of company for them to attract that kind of jobs. Those are the little things that you do. But more than anything else, I think we've all agreed that the way to go is in processing, farming and processing. A country that is not or unable to feed itself can definitely not survive in the scenario that we have. So a number of things will therefore be done, incentive to farmers, all sorts of things will happen to create that opportunity. Going around, I agree that the single biggest challenge that we have in the country today is unemployment. That has direct effect on security or insecurity, because there is nothing you can tell a hungry man he's angry. That has direct effects on the level of kidnapping that we are seeing, the level of human trafficking. Virtually every vice that is in our country today can be directly linked to unemployment. So tackle unemployment in a grand scale, quite a number of the other problems will start getting some kind of solutions.
Exactly, Your Excellency. And to tackle unemployment, we've also seen that the Atiku policy document has talked about restructuring. How feasible is this restructuring? A lot of people or a lot of politicians have played lip service to restructuring for quite some time. However, the extra responsibility attached with restructuring, like paying salaries to civil servants and other employees of government, has also been one that has failed so far. Most governors claim that the civil service is overbloated. Yes, we understand the plan to privatize most of these industries, but how would restructuring work from your perspective?
First, we don't agree that the civil service is overbloated in the real sense of the word. There is quite a number of idle capacity in the civil service because those capacities were not deployed. So part of what needs to be done actually is to deploy those capacity, and I can tell you there is capacity in the civil service. All that is need to do is to reorientate them, to retrain them and all of that, and they will perform. I've had experiences about that and I have no issues. But beyond that, when you restructure, you unleash the potentials of the people. Part of the biggest problem that we have as a challenge is the fact that there is a bottleneck in the federal structure that we are running. The bottleneck that everything has to be done. Look, when I was governor, for instance, I used to marvel how a contract to do borehole in a remote village is awarded somewhere in Abuja. How do you supervise it? So all of those things needs to be devolved back to the states. That's the whole essence, and to the local governments. That's the whole essence of restructuring that we're talking about. First and foremost, let's see what we can do to dismantle bureaucracy. Let's begin to take power close to the people who need it. Let the people who want to do rural roads have capacity within the environment to do those rural roads, because through budgetary allocations, a lot of funds is now released from the bottleneck at the center and given to the states or the federation units, whether it be states or whatever you want to call it. So that really is the whole essence of restructuring. And if you look at it carefully, in simple terms, what it's all about is that we have a structure that's not working. And everybody knows that Nigeria is really not working. So if something is not working, you rearrange it, you reorganize it, you restructure it. And that is why, for instance, you know the theme of the Atiku campaign is let's get Nigeria working again. The only way to do it is to do this restructuring.
Well, a bone of contention regarding this restructuring issue has been the privatization of NNPC. Most of the Atiku Abubakar opponents, particularly the All Progressive Congress, has said he's going to sell NNPC to his cronies and his friends if this is allowed. How do you also intend to, because in the policy document it said that 5 million barrels of oil would be produced, 5 million barrels of oil would be produced per day. So how do you set a target like that when you're privatizing the National Oil Corporation?
I think it's all about what we call MBO, management by objectives. And it's a very simple management skill. Most of the time we don't set targets. And when you do some level of... The privatization that I envisage in NNPC is not a one-day affair, by the way. It is a statement of intention. The NNPC as an organization is quite a sensitive one. It is the soul of the country, and whatever is done there has to be done very, very carefully, methodically, in a way that will achieve the overall objectives. But everybody agrees, even in so many other countries that are producing oil, the corporation that is running it is not necessarily government. So it's not privatization as in selling it. No, it is as in redirecting what they. There must be regulatory agencies, and the whole essence is that whatever is done in any industry, yes, today the telecommunications have been privatized, so you have all sorts of service providers, but there is still a Ministry of Communications that is supervising and regulating what they are doing. Today, for instance, we no longer have Nigerian Airways that we used to have. There are quite a number of airlines that are running, but the Ministry of Aviation is supervising them, controlling them, setting standards, and make sure they do the right thing. So I think that's what we are talking about. Once you break that monopoly and you give private enterprise the opportunity to also compete, government have a right also, if they feel so, to also compete. But they will now compete not in a monopoly, but they compete just like any other, private organizations. And then there is competition. When there is competition, there is progress. There is price efficiency. There is work efficiency. There is labor efficiency. That's what this whole process is. So I don't want people to look at it as if somebody wants to now wake up and sell NNP. No, that's not what the whole idea is. Nobody can.
So it's not going to be completely deregulated.
No, this is not the way. It cannot even happen just like that. It's a process.
Do you think it can be achieved in 4 years?
I have no doubt in my mind that that policy document that you have, most Nigerians do not know what went into this. And between you and I, we need to give kudos to Atiku Abubakar, because I happen to be aware that this is something that he had always been doing. And in this particular instance, once he made up his mind he was going to run again, he hired experts. Some volunteer, some were hired all over the place. Wherever Nigerians are that have capacity, they sat on those particular. They looked at everything. Atiku Abubakar is not the sort of president that will be sworn in and will not. I can see a president that from day one, things will start to happen. 4 years.
4 years is a short time.
Well, that then is the prerogative of Nigerians. Yes, we know that he has a right to a 2-term, but that, of course, anybody can decide what he wants to do. There's going to be an election, and Nigerians will, you say what they want. If Nigerians now feel that, they don't want him to go in 4 years, Nigeria can say so.
But he did promise he'll do just 1 term.
That's what he said.
Okay.
But you need to ask him, because I was not there when he said so. But definitely, I think that is born out of determination from what I've seen of him, that this thing is no big deal. If there is a will, there is a way. And I think he's very determined to make sure that some of those things are done with dispatch. That's what I heard. Yesterday in Ibadan, he spoke about restructuring. And he said that some of the things that he wanted to do on restructuring within 6 months of his swearing in, people will have started to see that something is, that's really encouraging, and we're excited.
Very lastly, Your Excellency, the United Nations quota for education is 26% of the overall budget. Nigeria is operating at a meager, I believe, about 4% right now of the overall budget. How do we curtail the ongoing strikes of organizations such as ASU, who have been talking about lack of payment of teachers' salaries and also students' welfare in our education system? How do we fix this?
Restructuring. That is a simple answer to how to fix it. There are so many things that the federal government is getting involved in that can be better if it is left in the hands, for instance, of the states or the local government where it exists. I've given so many examples. The educational sector is one hell of a problem. We can begin to look at it from the beginning. Look at the federal government colleges, for instance. Yes, when it was established, they need to unite the country. It's a fantastic idea. But going forward, the federal government, the way it is today, do they have the capacity to run those institutions? So those are the issues. That's where you start. Then you go to what's happening in JAMB.
So you say no more public schools?
I can't say categorically, but I'm just saying that we have to look at everything from the perspective of restructuring to make things better. That's where I like to put it. I can't really say anything to you now categorically, but I know that if I were him, for instance, I'll return the federal government colleges back to the states, for starters. And we need to free Abuja. If I were him, for instance, apart from some roads we they call truncated roads, I'll return the roads to the states and to the local government, and I'll give them funds by way of budgetary rearrangement to be able to do these jobs. You see, what has happened, as I said earlier on, is that a number of things are decided in Abuja. There is no supervision. I don't know what I'm communicating. So this is sort of a thing that I think must also happen in the educational sector.
That's a fine place to leave it. Otunba, Gbenga, Daniel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and thank you, VS.
We'll take a break right now. When we return, we'll bring you highlights from the Osasu Show Foundation. Don't go anywhere.
The TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
Yes, what do you want to be? A pilot. Wow, give me a high five. Everybody clap for him. The Osasu Show Foundation specializes in providing education scholarships to underprivileged children, as well as startup capital to women to start small to medium scale businesses.
I want to thank the Osasu Show Foundation for the encouragement and support.
I, Idris Ibrahim Hadelu, the coordinator in charge of governmental and public relations, is saying a big thank you to the Osasu Show Foundation that deem it important during this festive period to come to our children and play with us.
Children have been sent to school. The impoverished lives of women and their families have been changed through direct empowerment. Shelters have been built for the homeless and makeshift classrooms for the IDPs. That's it for today's program. To watch extended clips, you can visit our website, tostvnetwork.com. You could also find on there news from Africa by Africans regarding sustainable development and politics. Follow us on social media at The Osasu Show, at TOS TV Network, at Osasu Igbenedion, and at The Osasu Show Foundation on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll see you same time, same place next week. And until then, take very good care of yourself. God bless you.
The TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.